Yeah. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this virtual meeting of the Brierfield and Reedley Area Committee. Can I ask everyone to introduce themselves? And can I also ask at the same time for councillors to declare any interest they have on any particular item on the agenda? This we are required to do by law. So can I ask Councillor Hanif, do you want to start?
Yeah, Councillor Hanif from Reedley Ward, no interest, Chair.
Thank you.
Councillor Yasser Iqbal, Reedley Ward, no interest, declare Chair.
Thank you, Councillor.
Wayne Forest, Area Coordinator for this committee.
Thank you.
Lynn Rowland, the Committee Administrator.
Thank you.
Catherine Hughes, Principal Planning Officer.
I think that's it, isn't it?
It is. We have one speaker present with us, which is Alan Kinder. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. That's fine. Obviously, item 2, there's no public question time. Item 3, minutes to approve them.
Moving, Chair.
Moved by Councillor Hanif. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Iqbal. Item 4, progress report.
Moving, Chair.
Have we got a seconder?
I'll second that, Chair.
Councillor Iqbal seconding. Thank you. Do we not have the police today, Lynn?
No, there was a tentative acceptance of the meeting, but I presume they've got something on elsewhere.
Right, because they didn't attend last month as well, did they? I don't think.
No, they didn't.
No.
It was 2 months ago, Chair.
Yeah. So can we just tentatively ask them to please come next month?
Will do.
Yeah, thank you. The next item is planning application. The first item is application number 20/0289/HHO for demolition of existing conservatory and erection of a single-storey rear extension at 159 Reedley Road. Councillor Iqbal.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I was called by the resident in this case to look at this property. I've been down and seen the proposed plans that he's put forward. What is surprising, Chair, about this planning application, and I've not seen it in any other planning application, either on this committee or on the Policy and Resource Committee, is that both neighbours are in support. So they're not indifferent, they are actually in support of this application. I say that's surprising because we've never really seen that normally objection from the neighbours, but the neighbours in this case are actually happy with the proposed plans. So that's the first point. And secondly, Chair, I think it's not part of the report, but this is at 159 Reedley Road. Yeah. One of the adjoining properties, obviously, is 161 Reedley Road, but the other one is 1 Reedfield. So it adjoins 159, and when one looks at the planning applications on the Pendle Planning portal, a planning permission was given for 1 Reedfield for the exact same thing. It may be different dimensions, but planning permission from my research online was given, or a decision was made in February 2020. And just for Catherine's reference, if she's not got it there, the reference number I've got from the online system is 19/0923/HHO. That's for 1 Reedfield, and that was for a demolition of a conservatory and erection of a single-storey rear extension. That was approved. Now, it seems that one of the issues in this case, and this particular application, Chair, is the fact that there's going to be this 45-degree line. But the argument surely is that although the planning, so the 1 Reedfield, the applicant in that case hasn't commenced his work. So I'm not sure if the argument is that the 45-degree rule applies now as it is, or whether the 45-degree rule applies when the actual demolition and the extension is done on that property. The point is, if planning permission has been allowed, which it has been, then I can't see the point of then saying, well, as it currently stands, the property, it contravened the 45-degree rule. The point is that he may decide to build in the next 1 or 2 years. And I think it's unfair on this applicant at 159 Wheeler Road for him to suffer because the neighbour, for whatever reason, it may be cost, it may be other reasons. So I think that, Chair, I just need some clarity on that point first before I come back at anything. So
okay.
As a first protocol, I don't have any objections to it, but I just want to see what other councillors say first and secondly, and more importantly, what Catherine has to say on the particular points that I've identified.
Okay. What I'll do is, Councillor Iqbal, I'll bring in Councillor Hanif, and then obviously if Councillor Hanif's got any questions for Catherine as well, obviously she can answer them as well. Yeah. Councillor Hanif.
Thank you. And Chair, I've also been down, and obviously on the next property, Amjad lives there. So I spoke to Amjad as well several times, and both of them have no issues, no objections, things like this. And similar points to what obviously Yasser made is that I really can't understand. I know Amjad wants to start his work soon. When, I don't know. So, very similar points to Yasser. Unless Catherine gives us a different guidance, I don't know what the issue is.
Right, thank you. Catherine, can I bring you in at this time, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, a couple of points that were raised there. Just to go back through the history, because obviously there's been a couple of applications between this site and next door. In terms of 159 Reedley Road, which is the current application, I don't know if members remember, but we did have an application for the same style of extension and length of extension. Remember, this is over 9 metres long, this single-storey extension, and we refused that back in, would have been April, June last year. So we have already refused that, which is a very similar case. At that moment in time, that was a standalone application. We then had the one at number 1 Reedfield, which, as you're quite right, we approved. That was for the demolition of a conservatory and an extension of 6 metres in length, which we assessed against the existing conservatory at this application. Wouldn't impact, so that one was approved, as you said. We now turn to this application, which again is for 9.6 metres, I think it is, along that boundary, and it's been assessed based on the position as it stands at this moment in time. What we can't do is look at that extension as being built because, as you say, it hasn't commenced. It might never build it. As it stands now, that extension, the same as the one we assessed last year, would impact on that property. And that's why it's recommended for refusal. We have to look at things when we get the applications in, and it's probably jumped the gun a little bit, as it is at this moment in time. So if we approve this, the extension next door at 1 Reedfield doesn't get built, there's going to be an adverse impact on his property. And that's how we've assessed it. And based on that, we could be liable to an ombudsman case against us because we've already previously refused a similar extension. There's nothing changed. I know they've now got an extension approved, but on the ground, there's nothing changed from when we refused that extension last time. So on that basis, if members were minded to approve it, it would be referred to Policy and Resources Committee, because we have to look at it as it is now. If they've started it and they've put all the foundations into 6 metres and they're building it, that might be a different story. But at this moment in time, they haven't commenced on site. They might not commence it. They might never build it at all. And that's our problem, because that then would mean a 9.6 metre extension impacting on that property. And that's how we've assessed it, and that's how we've had to deal with it. So that's why it's recommended for refusal.
Thank you for that, Catherine. Councillor Iqbal.
Yeah, Chair. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's my connection or Catherine's. Maybe mine. I caught the gist of Catherine's submissions there, but just get clarity on that one thing. I'm not sure if she can answer that question, but if that extension at One Reedfield was built or was in the process of being built, the foundations go in, and 159 really put this application in at that point, what would the council's opinion be at that stage? Would it be approval or refusal on the basis that One Reedfield actually commenced his work?
Through you, Chair. I mean, it would be better if the extension was built, and then we know that it's going to be fully built. If it commenced it, we can give it more weight. But to be honest, we have to assess it as at that time that we get the application in. You know, again, they could put the foundations in and not finish it for a year or so. We've had that before. You know, it should protect the council really. If that 6 metre length extension was built, then obviously this one would only project out another 3.5, 3.6 metres, and with the difference in the boundaries, it's likely that would be acceptable. But again, at this moment in time, they've shown it on the plans that it's acceptable in the 45 degrees, but that's on the basis of that extension being built and completed. So we can't take that into account at this moment in time. So it gives it very little weight, really. Thank you for that, Catherine. Colleagues, Councillor Iqbal, Councillor Neath.
Yeah, Chair. I have a proposal to make in this one. I know there's a issue for refusal. Can I move that we approve?
So you're moving. Chair,
I can't hear you. I can't hear properly.
Sorry.
Can you just repeat that, please? Yes, sir.
Sorry, I was going to move. I'm moving the recommendation that the application be approved.
Okay, Councillor Hanif, did you hear that?
Yeah. I second that, Chair.
Okay, so obviously we've got a motion here that we approve this application. Councillor Yasser Iqbal has moved it, and Councillor Hanif has seconded. So obviously we'll go to the vote. Obviously it's going to be. Shall I bring you in now, Catherine, or after?
I was just going to say I did mention it earlier, but obviously if members are going to vote to approve it, it would be referred to PNR on that basis. Thank you.
Okay. Obviously, so Councillor Iqbal's moved it, and Councillor Hanif second to approve this. So obviously it's approved. So can I just let Councillor Iqbal and Hanif know, obviously they know that this will be going to policy and resource.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Is that okay? Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is planning number 20/0364/FUL. It's change of use of former mill to mixed use comprising of offices and storage facilities, used classes B1 and B8, formation of external two-storey car park and external altercations, including replacement windows and formation of new entrances and alterations to the Northlight roof at Northlight, Glenway, Brierfield. This is obviously for colleagues to delegate grant consent. Are colleagues happy to do that?
Yeah. Yes, Chair.
Yeah. So are you moving that, Councillor Hanif?
I am, Chair.
Yeah. Councillor Hanif moving to delegate grant consent. Councillor Iqbal, are you happy to second it?
I will second that, Chair, yes.
Yeah, so obviously it's been moved by Councillor Hanif, seconded by Councillor Iqbal. So obviously that's been agreed that we delegate grant consent on this particular planning issue. Item B, there's no planning appeals at this moment in time. Item 7, enforcement unauthorised uses. Obviously, if colleagues have a look, the land to the south of Robinson Lane, Brierfield, obviously that's been complied by, well, I think. And the second one, land to the south of Pendlebridge, Reedley, the owners have till the 24th of September to comply. So obviously at the next area committee, we will know whether or not they've complied. Is that okay?
Okay, Chair.
Yeah. Item 8, capital programme. Can I make colleagues aware that we recommend that to deallocate the 1,722 underspend and return it to the capital programme. This is for obviously the Back Arthur Street, Livingstone Walk, Back Wood Hill, etc., etc. Colleagues have got it on their minutes, and we allocate that money to the resurfacing Gable End of Rothsey Road.
Yeah.
Are we happy to do that?
Yeah.
Councillor Iqbal, are you happy to second that?
Is going to sleep?
Councillor Iqbal, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
Sorry, I've got a bad connection. What was
You've
that,
got a
Chair?
very
Sorry,
bad. Well, I'm happy to second Councillor Hanif. So obviously that's passed. Item 9, colleagues. This is the land at Bowland View. The Chief Executive has submitted the attached report for members to consider, allowing the Policy and Resources Committee to declare the land at Bowland View, shown edge black on the attached plan, surplus to requirements. We do have a speaker in Mr. Alan Kinder. If Mr. Kinder wants to come in and obviously speak on this, and then obviously colleagues can discuss this. Mr. Kinder?
Yeah, good evening, Chair, ladies and gentlemen. The item before you this evening is seeking consent in principle for the disposal of a relatively small area of land which was dedicated to the Council over 20 years ago. This in turn will facilitate the construction of 19 family homes, which in themselves represent a much needed contribution to the Council's ongoing 5-year land supply. The overall parcel of land that was dedicated to the Council 20 years ago totals just over a third of an acre, which is approximately 1,500 square metres. The area of land to be considered for disposal is at the southern tip of this land and equates to just 57 square metres, effectively only 3% of the overall open space area. Added to this, over half of the land to be considered for disposal is in any event presently tar-macadammed as an agricultural access into the land beyond. The loss of such a small proportion of the overall open space area would in itself not cause any material impact as regards the amenity value of the open space as a whole, but would in fact have quite a significant beneficial impact in terms of a capital receipt to the Council, and also assist in safeguarding approximately 30 construction jobs in the local economy for approximately 2 years whilst the housing development was being built out. In closing, therefore, I feel that the attendant benefits of the disposal of such a small area of land are quite considerable, but at the same time, the broader benefits derived from the use of this area of public open space are not severely compromised. And it is for these reasons that I trust that members will feel able to endorse the recommendation to declare the land surplus to requirements forward to the next meeting of Policy and Resources Committee. Thank you.
Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of the residents there, Chair. Yeah, because when this came up last time I was in Pakistan,
Yeah.
and you were amazed how many WhatsApp messages and actually phone calls I've received in Pakistan. And the residents of Bowland View, Stonyard House weren't happy whatsoever with this. And to be honest, it just come as a surprise to myself on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, I wouldn't like to sell the lands, but I'm feeding back to you the unhappiness of most of the Bowland Avenue, Stonyard sized, and all the streets in that area that go up towards this Longreach, Heath, I think is then it comes on to Stonyard side, and then it's Bowland View. And I'm just making the comments to yourself, passing on their feelings that they actually are not happy with this at all.
So are you moving to refuse this then?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not. I was trying to go over, and I was gonna take some guidance on this, and I couldn't find the officers. I couldn't get a reply from any of the officers when I rang them. Is there any chance of deferring this so we can get some information and then discuss it at the next meeting, if possible?
I can ask. I don't see it being a problem. Obviously, if that's what you're moving, and if you've got a seconder.
Chair, just before I propose or second anything, I think we were at the meeting just before the lockdown happened, maybe in January, February. Sorry, can you hear me firstly?
Yeah.
And
It was a March meeting.
It was it was a very tense meeting, and I think, the March meeting was just before the lockdown because I'd been in contact with these residents, Chairman, as you know, since December, and I was contacted by all the residents on Bowden View and Stonyhurst Heights, and I'd been around and spoke to many of them, and they came to the meeting, and I'd gone down with the plans, and so they were upset from the get-go, really.
Seriously upset.
And I think they made their feelings very clear at the meeting, and I was, I think, one of the only councillors who then moved to refuse the application based on the feedback I had from the residents, and because I'd been in contact with these residents since December, and they'd been in contact with me, we'd had regular contact, and because of the previous application, so I was one of the only ones who actually moved to refuse the application. Now, in terms of this land, it's as Mr. Kinder said, it's a very record having refused this or having moved the motion to refuse this application. I think it's going to be difficult for us to. I think it's going to be difficult to prove this, but
you've got a very bad line, Councillor Iqbal.
Councillor Iqbal, it might be worth turning off your camera and just having your microphone on.
Can you hear me now, Chairman?
Yeah.
Would it be better just to use your phone? No? Because your line's very bad.
Yeah, I'll try.
Is that possible?
I'll try my phone if you give me a few minutes.
Yeah, if we'll just use your mobile. Is that possible, Lynn? Sorry.
It is. It will need to. The ID reference number will be on the invitation is received through the email, but it may be worth trying just switching his camera off at the moment, because then the internet connection might be a bit better for him.
Yeah, is that? I've now switched my camera off. Is that better, Chairman?
Yeah, that's better. Just check your phone.
Yeah. So what I was saying, Mr. Chairman, was that I think I'm not sure where my connection was lost, but what I was saying was that I was one of the few ones who actually moved a refusal for this application based upon the feeling of the residents around Bowden View and Stonyhurst Heights. But notwithstanding that, I'm not sure how we can reasonably refuse item 9 and to declare the land of Bowden View surplus. But I hear what Councillor Hanif says. If he wants a deferral and to ask for further information, then so I'm happy to support and second Councillor Hanif's motion.
Okay, that's fine. So Councillor Hanif's moved to defer for more information, and Councillor Iqbal has seconded that. Is that right, colleagues?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lynn, did you get that? Obviously, Councillor Hanif moved to defer with Councillor Iqbal seconding it.
Yes, I've got that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Obviously, the reopening of Pendle Town Centres, item 10. The committee is advised that work is currently taking place on a spending plan to support the reopening of Brierfield Town Centre following the allocation of government funding for this purpose. A further update will be given to the next meeting of the committee. Item 11, there's no Brierfield Town Centre premises improvement grants applications. Item 12, problem sites. The Planning, Economic Development and Regulatory Services Manager reports that there are no recorded problem sites in Brierfield and Reedley at the moment. If members are aware of any sites that should be considered for possible inclusion on the problem sites report, a short report on the nature and extent of the problem will be prepared for a future meeting of the committee. It is then the committee to determine whether or not to include it within the problem sites report. Is that okay, colleagues?
Yeah.
Councillor Iqbal?
Yeah, that's fine, Chairman.
Okay. Can I thank everybody for attending this Brierfield and Reedley Area Committee meeting, and have a safe and good evening.